Hey everybody, it's your girl Cheryl and welcome to my channel. I am so very glad that you are here. And if this is your first time, I want to say welcome. So glad to have you. I want you to hit that like button, watch this video all the way through, and then subscribe if you enjoy the content that we are sharing on tonight. And if you are one of our regular subscribers, I want to say welcome back. We are about to get into it. We've been doing a series called Sunday School Nuggets on Saturday night. And so tonight we're going to talk about wisdom, or better yet, how not to be a fool. How not to be a fool. So if that's interesting, invite somebody to watch with us, and we'll see you in a few. Welcome back. My name is Cheryl Thomas. I'm a minister, a best-selling author, and I am a certified Christian life coach. And here on Cheryl Thomas Speaks, we help church girls get a life. Yes, get a life. That means to love yourself. That means to invest in yourself. That means feel comfortable and confident in your own skin and empower you to express the unique individual that God has called you to be. But tonight, we're going to dive into the subject, our Sunday School Nuggets on Saturday night. And I use David C. Cook, the Echoes edition. So that's what we're generally going from. Our lesson tonight talks about feast with wisdom. And we're going to be in Proverbs chapter 9, verses 1 through 6, verses 8 through 10. Then we'll skip to verses 13 through 18. And our lesson focus is build your life on the pillars of God's wisdom, not decaying folly. And in our lesson today, we're talking about the difference between chasing wisdom and chasing folly. And I love how our text describes wisdom's call and folly's call and how to discern between the two. So that's why I wanted to title this, instead of just Feast with Wisdom, which is the Sunday School lesson title, I wanted to title this How Not to Be a Fool. And so I'm going to give you 3 ways how not to be a fool that we're going to draw from today's lesson. And so I'm going to read, I usually read our lesson in the NIV, New International Version, but feel free, if you have your Bibles, to read in whatever translation you like best. But I did want to let you know that I will be reading out of the NIV version. Proverbs 9, 1 through 6, 8 through 10 says, "Wisdom has built her house. She has set up its 7 pillars. She has prepared her meat and mixed her wine. She has also set her table. She has sent out her servants, and she calls from the highest point of the city. Let all who are simple come to my house. Those who have no sense, she says, come eat my food and drink the wine I have mixed. Leave your simple ways, and you will live. Walk in the way of insight. Do not rebuke mockers, or they will hate you. Rebuke the wise, and they will love you. Instruct the wise, and they will be wiser still. Teach the righteous, and they will add to their learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding." And now we'll go to Proverbs 9, verses 13 through 18. "Folly is an unruly woman. She is simple and knows nothing. She sits at the door of her house, on the seat of the highest point of the city, calling out to those who pass by, who go straight on their way. Let all who are simple come to my house. To those who have no sense, she says, stolen water is sweet. Food eaten in secret is delicious. But little do they know that the dead are there, that her guests are deep in the realm of the dead." So I want you to see, juxtaposed in this story are 2 women calling. Solomon calls one wisdom, and he calls the other folly. And our dilemma as believers, as people, is to choose which instruction, which call to heed. Because you'll see it pictured that both of these women are on top of the city, calling out to everybody that passes by. And so everyone that passes by has an equal choice as to who you'll listen to, who you'll heed, whose instructions you deem as valuable to you, whose instructions you will actually follow. And that's what we see in life. We all have a choice. There is wisdom, the wisdom of God at one hand, telling us to go a certain way, telling us to walk down a certain path, telling us what instruction to listen to, telling us who to get guidance from. But just as loud on the other side is folly, foolishness, mayhem, and madness, screaming just as loud, telling us what to do, who we should follow, who we should listen. And so my topic, how not to be a fool, comes in our discernment of who we will listen to, who we will decide to follow, whose instructions we deem as sound. And so what I want you to do, even as you go about your life, your day-to-day journey, I want you to realize, number one, this is how not to be a fool, is to understand that both of these voices are calling. Every day you will encounter both voices. Every time that you have to make a decision, you will encounter both voices. You will hear the voice of wisdom and you will hear the voice of folly. So the first thing in not to be a fool, or how not to be a fool, is knowing that both voices will be there. Because when you understand that you will have a choice between two voices, wisdom and folly, when you know both voices are there, you'll be better equipped to discern between the two. Because when you think every counsel you get from every person is wise counsel, you're not thinking, I'll have to make a choice, I'll have to make a decision. You're thinking all the advice you get is great, all the counsel you get is great, all what you hear is good. But if you know that they'll both be presented to you, and sometimes in avenues that you don't expect, then you'll know I'll have to be intentional in decision making. I'll have to be prayerful in decision making, because both will come. The good will come from God. The bad will come from fools, folly, and the enemy. So you'll know you'll have to make a choice. So being intentional is the first thing of not to being a fool, knowing that both choices are there. Number two, you have to be prayerful. Be intentional, be prayerful. Be prayerful about the voices, because sometimes the instruction that wisdom will give you will not seem logical. And so you'll have to be prayerful. And you're thinking, well, Cheryl, what do you mean it won't seem logical? Has God ever told you to do something that defied logic but was supernatural and that got you results that you wouldn't have gotten had you not listened to him? Have you ever chosen a shepherd boy over a warrior? Sometimes the things that seem logical are not wisdom. So you have to be prayerful that when those choices come up, that you can see through the intent and you can see God in those choices, so that the thing you choose is not based on your own intellect, because we know we are not that smart, and that we need and we lean on the wisdom of God to make choices. It didn't seem logical for the prophet to tell the woman of God to feed him first before her and her child, who were getting ready to die. It didn't seem logical, but her obedience caused her to have food. So everything that's logical may not be wisdom. So choose prayer. And the last thing I want to do is I want to read one of the verses from the Invitation to Wisdom's table. It says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. The third thing that you have to do to not be a fool is to lay down your thought process, to lay down your thinking, and invite the wisdom of God. And so for me, the fear of the Lord is understanding that God's wisdom is always above my own wisdom. His thoughts are always above my thoughts. And so when I stop feasting at the shrine of my own intellect, stop feasting at the shrine of my own thinking, or even those around me, and I invite the wisdom of God into my life, I have the best opportunity to make wise choices and to not be a fool. So in closing, these are the things that I want you to remember, the three things that we talk about that are going to help you not be a fool. Not be a fool. Number one, realizing that there will always be an option and that you get to choose, so that you are intentional every day when you make decisions. Number two, be prayerful. Don't try to make decisions on your own. Be prayerful and ask for God's wisdom, because sometimes God's wisdom does defy logic, but it will get you the supernatural results that you're looking for. And number three is to elevate God's wisdom. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. The fear of the Lord, understanding that He knows more than you know. He has better intel than you have. So choosing to fall under His wisdom, no matter how it seems to you, will always help you not be a fool. So I hope this has been helpful for you. If it has, I want you to hit that subscribe button, and I want you to share it with somebody that you know needs it. But most importantly, I want you to apply it. It does us no good to have knowledge, to have wisdom, if we do not apply what we've learned. So if you don't do anything else today, I want you to apply the wisdom that God may have shared with you during this segment. I love you all with the love of the Lord, and I will see you on next time.